So, good morning and hello to everyone joining us. I think we're just going to give it a few minutes to allow more of our attendees to start joining. So, if you could kindly type in the chat which city you're dialing in from, that would be really wonderful. So, we want to get to know you better. Wow, Pretoria, Johannesburg, South Africa. So, guys, it's 9 o'clock. I'm Raisa, and I am coming to you live from Germany. So, guten Morgen. But if, of course, I'm a South African. So, Dumelang Likai, Goeiemorgen. It's really heartwarming to see so many people dialing in this morning. And that just proves your sheer commitment to this topic through trying to navigate the regulatory demands. I know it can be quite challenging, but this is why we at DEKRA are here to assist you and guide you and help you navigate this very complex environment. So, just to give you an idea as to who we are at DEKRA and what we do, if you don't already know, I'd be very surprised. So, we are an independent testing, inspection, and certification authority. And our focus is audits and certifications. And today we have our experts, Hans joining us from Netherlands and Olga joining us from Ukraine to share their insights. So really take advantage of this opportunity. We'll go through the topics. We'll really delve into this area of ISO 9001, 14001, and how you can start preparing for the updates planned for 2026. We will try to get through everyone's questions, but this may not be possible as I expect there to be loads of questions. And in light of this, we will reach out to you personally. So you've got our email addresses here as well. Feel welcome to drop us a mail. I'll receive this directly. We can assist you regardless of where you're based. As you know, DEKRA is international, so we have a massive global footprint. Regardless of where you're at, we will be able to assist you. I'm not going to take too much time, even though I'd love to engage further with you, but I really want this to be a very interactive session. So let's keep the chats busy. Let's keep the momentum going. Engage in our polls that we'll put up and reach out to us because we want to hear from you. We have so much planned in the upcoming month. So let's stay connected. Find us on LinkedIn. Let's keep the energy going. So without further ado, Hans and Olga, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Raisa, for such an amazing introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us from around the world. Welcome to our session on ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 upcoming 2026 revisions. Before we dive in, let us introduce ourselves. We have Hans and Olga here. And Hans, let me say a few words about your great experience. Hans brings over 30 years of technical management experience in accreditation and certification. His expertise lies in management system certification and the application of international requirements across industries. In short, Hans knows the standards inside and out and how they work in practice. In addition, Hans also serves as the chairman of the working group accreditation of the Dutch Association of Certification Bodies. So he plays their key role in alignment of global and local accreditation requirements with practical application. This experience gives him a unique perspective on both the strategic governance of accreditation system and the practical challenges that organization may face during certification and also transition processes.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce Olga. She brings over 12 years of experience as a lead auditor with more than 200 audits successfully conducted across a wide range of industries. Her expertise includes also implementing management system, designing risk management approaches, and tackling challenges organizations face with respect to ISO standards. So if there's a practical issue for ISO out there, Olga has not only encountered it, but also found an effective solution. Beyond auditing, Olga works in the DEKRA People, Processes and Organization Services Division, and as part of the governance and quality management team, she contributes as a risk specialist, business analyst, an expert in accreditation and certification processes. She brings a strong combination of operational insight and strategic perspectives.
Thank you very much, Hans. I promise I won't turn this session into my so-called fascinating audit stories, unless, of course, you will ask them at the end. And
so let's start with the question: why are we here today? Over the past month, we've been getting a lot of questions, and yes, even a few rumors about ISO 9001 and ISO 14001. Things like, are they changing? When and how much? And sometimes it feels like there are more questions than answers. And while the revisions are still in progress, we thought it was the right time to shed some light on what we know, what's confirmed, and what's still under discussion. Think of the session as a chance to separate facts from speculation and as a chance to explore the topic together with you, because this transition will affect us all, from client organization and auditors to certification bodies.
yeah, exactly. By the end of today, we hope you feel really better, equipped to navigate the upcoming changes without stress or any confusions. So let's see what our objectives of today's session. Today, we are going to provide you an overview of ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 current versions, their purposes and principles. We would also like to share the latest updates on the upcoming revisions of ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 of 2026. We plan to highlight the expected key changes and implications, and also offer you guidance on preparing for this transition. And finally, of course, we want to engage you to ask questions. During this session, please feel free to post your questions in the chat, as Raisa already proposed, and we will review them after the main presentation and then move into a Q&A block for some discussion. Yeah.
It sounds like a lot, but don't worry. No clause reading marathon today. The ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 revisions are still in the early stages. We don't have all the answers yet, but we already know enough to start planning our next steps together. And that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, exactly. And we would like to start with some interaction with you and to know more about you, our audience. We prepared a quick poll to understand your current level of awareness of today's topic. We know our audience is really diverse. Some of you may already be deep into the details, while others may just be hearing about the revisions for the first time. So here is our opening poll question. How much do you already know about the ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 revisions? And you have three options here. The first option is nothing at all. I'm starting from zero and here to learn. Second option is I've read the draft international standard and I know that, but want more clarity. And the third option is I've already started preparing and my organization is getting ready. Please go ahead and select the option that best describes you. And I think we will wait for a couple of minutes for the result. I'm really curious what we will have here. Because Hans, I'm afraid if we will have third option, let's see what we are doing here. So in this case, we may engage people, let's say, in the bigger discussion, and maybe someone tell us anything interesting. So we already have the result. And as far as I see, the result is quite expected. The majority of you have selected nothing at all. I'm starting from 0, and actually that's perfectly fine. In fact, this outcome directly connects with our purpose today to help you move from uncertainty to clarity. Our aim is to shed light on what we know, highlight what's coming, and give you some practical steps so you can feel more confident about this transition. So, doesn't matter whether you're starting from 0, already reading this draft, or even preparing with the organization, you're in the right place, and this session is designed for all of you. So let's maybe start with the basics. Hans, could you give us a quick overview of ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 standards?
Yeah, sure. ISO 9001 sets out the framework for quality management system. And with this framework, it's helping organizations to consistently meet customer and regulatory requirements. There are over 1 million organizations currently certified worldwide. And ISO 9001 was first published in 1987, but is still very current. ISO 14001 is the international standard for environmental management system. It supports organization in minimizing environmental impact, complying with laws, and driving sustainability improvements. About 300,000 certifications exist globally, and ISO 14001 was first published in 1996. Now, both standards are globally adopted. They are applicable across all industries and are used by a very wide range of industries for compliance and performance improvement. What's furthermore very important to mention is that both standards use the harmonized structure. That makes it easier for organizations to integrate systems. So let's shortly have a look at this harmonized structure. ISO has defined this harmonized structure not just for ISO 9001 and 14001, but for all ISO management system standards. It's part of the so-called Annex SL with information on the process of standardization, but also on the content of standards. Now, both standards have 10 shared clauses, and this means the requirements are provided in the same structure, from contact and leadership through to improvement. That means integration is easier. And finally, to wrap up this part of our presentation, I would like to address the principles of both standards. Both standards share risk-based thinking and driving improvement. And ISO 9001 focuses furthermore on customer orientation, leadership, and the process approach. And ISO 14001 emphasizes environmental stewardship, compliance, life cycle thinking, and pollution prevention. So in summary, ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 provide organizations worldwide with proven frameworks for quality and environmental management. They are built on the same harmonized structure, which makes integration straightforward, and they share common principles such as risk-based thinking and continual improvement, while each brings its own focus, whether on customer or environmental stewardship. So now it's worth to share why we even need the revisions of the standards. Olga, do you want to take this one?
Sure. And I would like to start like this. ISO standards need to be reviewed and updated to stay relevant to today's reality. Let's think of it like your phone. If you're still using iPhone 5 or Android Gingerbread, you are missing essential features and can't fully benefit from modern developments or keep up with high-tech solutions. The same actually applies to ISOs. If you still use, for example, ISO 9001, 2008, it didn't adequately reflect modern approaches and left your organization without the tools to address today's challenges, right? So the business environment also changes rapidly. For example, from new technologies and digitalization to supply chain shifts and climate challenges. So the standards are revised by ISO organization typically every 5 years to keep them really relevant and practical and up to date. Revisions also reflects user feedback and harmonize with other ISO standards. They also ensure that the language of the standards and structure remain aligned with so-called Annex SL, harmonized structure Hans just mentioned about. And actually, unlike your phone, you can just click remind me later to install a new version forever. Eventually, you must upgrade, right? So let's now see how does the revision cycle usually unfold. Every 5 years, ISO standard goes through systematic review where the responsible committee of ISO decides what will be the next step to confirm unchanged, to revise or amend, or to withdraw the standard. If the decision is to revise or amend the standard, the committee draft is issued, so-called CD. Yeah. Then there is a time for draft international standard, so-called DIS. Yeah. And the approved draft turns into final draft, FDs. And the last revision step is the new edition, actually the standard publication. The revision cycle of the standard usually takes from 3 to 4 years from initial review to publication. And then we get a 2 or 3 year transition period to move over. So in general, revisions are essential to keep ISO standards relevant, practical, and aligned with today's challenges and technologies. They don't happen overnight. The process takes several years. And it is followed by transition period to give organizations some time to adapt to that. Hans, can you please show us where we are today in this process of revisions?
Yes, as indicated in the slide, we're currently here for both standards at this stage being draft international standard. Now, both standards are going through the process as explained by Olga. And for ISO 9001, after the systematic review, decision was taken in 2023 for a minor revision. This resulted in a committee draft in 2024. And the draft international standard was just issued in September 2025 and now goes through the commenting stage. And after all the international comments have been collected, reviewed and discussed, ISO will revise the standard based upon this. And we expect to have the FDIS, the final draft international standard, published in the middle of 2026 and publication of the new version of the standard at the end of 2026. Now for ISO 14001, the process went a little bit different compared to ISO 9001. After the systematic review in 2023, the revision was taken for development of an amendment to the 2015 version, so not to revise the standard. This resulted in a committee draft of the amendment in 2024. This amendment appeared, however, to be over 40 pages. So due to the content and the size of the amendment, it was decided in 2025 to switch from amendment to revision like for 9001. And with this step, this amendment was published finally as a DIS 14001. Now this is currently going through review with the FDIS expected to be published in January 2026, a publication of the new version of the standard in March 2026. In this process, we also expect to have a transition guide published by IAF via a so-called IAF mandatory document. And this document will provide us with information on transition period, auditor requirement, and duration of transition visits. Now, after publication of the new version of the standards, there will probably be a 2-year transition period for organization to upgrade their system before the 2015 versions will become obsolete. And it's important to note that until the official final draft international standard, the FDIS, is published, the 2015 versions remain fully valid as the versions, so don't panic and keep complying with them. Now, with the publication of the FDIS of the standards, you can really start preparing for your transition. In short, both ISO 9001 and 14001 are currently at this stage, moving through the standard revision process we have just outlined. Now, while the timelines and steps have slightly differences between the two standards, the key points are the same. The 2015 versions remain fully valid, and the organization will have a transition period, like around 2 years, to upgrade their systems once the new versions are released. Now, Olga, I think we're all curious about the kind of changes we are expecting. Can you put some light on it?
Oh yeah, my pleasure. As you just said, Hans, we are at the stage where there are no final drafts yet, right? So the changes we are seeing aren't set in stone, but I can walk you through what we know so far. For ISO 9001, we should expect some stronger focus on quality culture, ethical behavior, climate change in organizational context, and clearer risk and opportunity management. Plus recognition of remote and hybrid work practices. That's in the nutshell. And for ISO 14001, we should think about climate integration, life cycle perspective, and stricter compliance obligations. Standard terminology is also being refined and included into the standard body now. So let's now look a bit deeper at some of the specific areas where changes are expected in both ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 standards. So first, terminology and definitions. They are expanded. More clarity and better alignment now. Both standards are updating terminology and also expanding in-text definitions to improve clarity across industries, right? This includes clarifying document references and expanding definitions of key terms like risk, competence, environmental aspects, etc. Both standards now highlights a culture of quality, ethical behavior, and environmental responsibility. For example, ISO 9001-2026 now requires organizations to evaluate climate change as a relevant factor and clearly link stakeholder requirements to their QMS. Interested parties clause now requires deciding which needs are covered by the QMS. And for ISO 14001, circular economy and climate adaptation are emphasized. Stakeholder climate-related requirements are also emphasized, making this environmental context even stronger. Yeah? Climate change is explicitly required to be considered in clause 4.1 of ISO 9001 and other related clauses. And also broader environmental issues like resource use, pollution, biodiversity must be accounted for. If we speak about leadership, it is another area where both standards are evolving. The revisions highlights the importance of, as I said, building of culture of quality, ethical behavior, and environmental responsibility. We know that it reflects the global priorities in modern business practices, right? So the clause 5.1 of ISO 9001 now literally obliged leadership to promote quality culture and ethical behavior. And there is even link to ISO 110. This is the guidance on organizational culture. And on the environmental side, climate adaptation and circular economy principles are highly emphasized. Now let's look at risks and opportunities. Here we have more structure now and also references to other ISO guidances. For example, ISO guidance for setting the quality plans or ISO guidance for change management. They're put as a links into the standard body. ISO 9001 is refining the clauses with distinct subclauses, separate for risks and separate for opportunities. And now it requires organizations to have processes for evaluating both of them. Yeah, so there is a split into 6.1.2 for risks and 6.1.3 opportunities with separate process requirements. Meanwhile, ISO 14001 prioritized the order in the risk management. So firstly, we consider environmental aspects, then compliance obligations, and finally, other risks and opportunities. This helps us to make risk-based thinking more practical and better aligned with environmental performance. Clause 6.1 of ISO 14001 is being restructured slightly. New subclauses 6.1.4 risk and opportunities and 6.1.5 planning actions were introduced to make this separation between identifying risk and opportunities and planning responses. It helps to do it more explicit. Yeah. Change management is also being strengthened. Organizations will need to monitor and review changes after they are implemented. So this is now required by adding new points E and F for post-change monitoring and evaluation. And ISO 40001 goes even further by introducing a standard alone clause for changing, which affecting EMS, including environmental impacts. So be ready for that. Documentation requirements are also shifting. For example, instead of retain documented information, the wording moves toward documented information shall be available or available as evidence. So we understand that's giving organizations more flexibility in how they manage documents and records, right? On performance, ISO 9001 now addresses remote and hybrid work infrastructure. That's reflecting today's work realities. And also, ISO 9001 strengthened the social responsibility, as now includes social, psychological, and psychofactors. For example, stress prevention, emotional protection, hygiene, noise, into the infrastructure section 7. There are expanded examples also of customer communication. For example, social medias, frequently asked questions, trainings, and also customer satisfaction now explicitly includes complaints and social media feedback. ISO 40001 makes all management review inputs mandatory with no exceptions, while ISO 9001 expanded details on review results, including, for example, resource needs, continual improvement, and adaptation to internal and external changes. If we speak about operational planning and control, this is the clause 8.1 of ISO 14001. It is expanded. We expect here stronger control or influence over externally provided processes, products, or services, which are relevant to the EMS. They must be defined. And for improvement, continual improvement is merged into a single clause. There is no more split between 10.1 and 10.2. Now this is the single clause. And also there is a focus for emerging technologies, AI, IoT, and some digital tools. That's all to drive the progress. And also we have Annex A. This is informative annex. It is relevant for both ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 standards. It was much expanded, and it now provides really detailed clarification on context. This also includes climate change. It provides guidance on interested parties, including sustainability requirements, organizational knowledge, digitalization, technologies for ISO 9001, and more guidance on interpreting key clauses. For example, interested parties, environmental aspects, life cycle, risk and opportunities for ISO 40001. So that's in a nutshell. So Overall, these close-level updates are really sharpening the expectations, reflecting modern challenges, and ensures the standards are really future fit. But at the same time, there is not a large number of brand new obligations. Many of the changes, as you may already see in the standards, are clarification or I would say enhancements of what already exists, right? So the fundamentals won't change. The harmonized structure will remain with stable close numbering and integration across management system standards like ISO 45001, ISO 27001, ISO 22001, 2000 will persist. So let's say this will definitely not change. In summary, while the final drafts are not yet published, as we know, the upcoming versions of ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 are really clearly focusing on modern business realities. Stronger emphasis on quality and environmental culture, ethical behavior, climate and life cycle consideration, clearer risk and opportunity management, and also updated performance and documentation requirements. And as I said, the changes are moderate in scope, so transition to the new version should be completely manageable. Yeah. Okay, Hans, that's all good, but let's think what to do with that. Can you maybe share what does this mean in practice and how to implement these changes?
Yeah, let's have a look. In a nutshell, organizations will need to refine their risk and opportunity registers. Organization will need clearer processes for how risk opportunities are identified, analyzed, and responded to. Auditors will check that both risk and opportunities are handled with documented planning. And it's important to strengthen change management procedures and ensure that performance metrics reflect customer perception or environmental KPIs. Supplier management or outsourced services will be more tightly integrated in environmental controls. Auditors will look more closely at evidence of risk management, climate integration, and sustainability alignment, and how organizations adapt to new challenges like climate change and digitalization. And in short, less show me the document and more show me the proof. Now, for both QMS and EMS, we'll see greater expectations on leadership, for example, embedding quality culture or environmental responsibility into daily practices. It's very important to have time to prepare for the transition, as the proactive early bird preparation reduces transition risk and efforts. In short, revisions mean organization will need to focus more on real evidence of risk management, change processes, and performance outcome rather than just documents. Leadership will play a bigger role in embedding quality and environmental responsibility into daily practices. And auditors will be looking closely at how you adapt to challenges like sustainability, climate change, and digitalization. Now, Olga, I think now is the time to recommend what organizations can do now.
Yes, that's true. You're right. Uh, as you said, it's a good approach to start now on this early stage and not to lose time. And what you can do already right now, this is the step one. You can be informed. Yeah, you can follow ISO committee updates. You can follow IF communiques. You can follow your certification body guidance, right? Any sources which may help you to stay informed. Step two is also can be done currently. What you need is to assess current maturity with existing instruments. That's what you usually do, actually, through monitoring, internal audits, management reviews. That's important to check now how well your management system already align with the trends like sustainability, quality culture, digitalization, whatever, right? And as a step three, you can strengthen leadership and engage your staff. It is a really good time to make leaders aware of unexpected changes and build some awareness among employees. At the same time, you could already build some structured transition plan. For example, what you could do already right now. In 2025, you might create some awareness session, internal, external, doesn't matter, but let's say to build this awareness, this is very important. What you can do the next year when the final draft will be issued, you can do the gap analysis, and that's actually help you to find the areas of focus where you need to pay more attention and where you need to, let's say, implement what necessary. And since we do not expect any changes anymore since FDs is issued, you can actually finalize the implementation of new amended requirements as a step 5. Yeah, after this will be published in 2026 as expected. Actually, in 2027 or even earlier, you can plan your management system updates after gap analysis and implement, let's say, all the requirements that needs your attention, where you have weaknesses or when you need to strengthen your sustainability and effectiveness. And actually, the step 6 is to keep close contact with your certification body to guide you on the audit scheduling, transition timing. As Hans said, it will be already. We will know about that when IFMD will be published, and also what you can do to past trainings and webinars which can support you. So, in short, the main message is that it's better to start early, to stay informed, and be proactive. You can assess where your organization stands today, engage your leaders and teams, and then begin planning your transition smoothly. By taking these steps now, you really make the actual implementation smoother and reduce risks when the new standards are finalized. Yeah. So to wrap up our session before we open the floor for our questions, let's maybe now take a step back. Hans, can I ask you to do some recap of our webinar?
Yeah, sure, Olga. We've looked at where ISO 9000 and ISO 14000 stands today, why revision happened and what's expected in the 26 updates, and most importantly, what that means in practice. The key message is this, change is coming, but we have time. And if you start planning early, the transition doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah, well said. So with that, let's maybe hear from you. We now love to take your questions, clarify any uncertainties, and hear your perspectives in these topics. You can type your questions into the chat box if you didn't, and then let's start the discussion. Our moderator, Raisa, will keep an eye on everything, and I hope will help us to bring your questions into the discussion, right? Raisa, could you please help us?
Yeah. So fantastic, Hans and Olga. Very insightful session. Thank you very much. We have a massive amount of attendees today. So I've just checked the numbers, and we're sitting on close to 1,400 people, with some people still joining. Some, well, rather late than never. So welcome, guys. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And in light of this, I just want to reiterate that the recording will be made available to everyone who is registered for the session. So immediately after this webinar, you'll receive the recording. I can't promise that you'll receive the presentation slides, but drop me an email. So it's raisa.khan@dekra.com. I'll also post it in the chat, and maybe, just maybe, we could do something for you. For everyone who has joined recently, as mentioned in the beginning, we have a little something as a token of appreciation for you. So what you'll find in the chat is a link, and you can access this link on your mobile, on your desktop, whatever is easier for you. And it shows you all of the services that we have available globally. So ISO 9001, 14001. So what you want to do is use the hyperlink and connect with us. So you can also use audits@dekra.com. We've created many ways for you to stay connected. You'll receive the latest information, the finalized updates, access to our other services, and how we can assist you. So we want to really stay connected with you. That's my plan, in fact. And before we head over to the Q&A session, I just want to say and recap once again for the late joiners that a lot has been covered. So Hans and Olga, our experts, discussed the revision process, the changes on the horizon, what they think might not change, what it means for organizations, most importantly. And the key takeaway is simple. So the change is coming, but you have time. And if you start planning early, then the transition does not have to be complicated. So you're already here, and that shows your commitment to the topic. So great stuff. Now, let's head over to the Q&A area of the slot. You still have time to type in your questions, but I'm going to grab one from, okay, there's some statements, not only questions. Interesting, guys. So the first one from Meira. Will DEKRA offer training courses on ISO 9001 and 14001?
So maybe I will take over. Yes, of course, local DEKRAs will be offering courses for both auditors and clients since FDs will be published, not earlier. Yeah, because since FDs is not published, we cannot guarantee that changes we are talking about are stable. Yeah, then they still can slightly be amended. Yeah, and after that, we can be sure, after FDs will be issued, we can be sure that nothing will change, and then we launch the courses.
Okay, fantastic. So the answer is yes. Keep connected. We have various entities, and some of our other entities can offer you training courses.
Yeah.
So, Maya, I hope we answered your question. Camille says, maybe it's better in the future, connected. Okay, Camille, you need to elaborate, please. All right, so there's a question from Gerard, and Gerard asks, is AI, so AI is not an explicit issue in the 2026 adaptation. So is AI an explicit issue in the 2026 adaptation?
Yeah, I would maybe take over if you, Hans, okay with that. AI is mentioned in the new revision as a potential, let's say, focus in the future. We didn't have this before. So now standards are updated to reflect these modern work realities, including digitalization, AI, and some other means like remote work, etc. Let's say what is expected from the organization to include these technological impacts, cybersecurity issues, and digital process reliability in the risk management. So that these performance metrics, like for example, AI or IoT tools are really considered there. So by that, organizations are encouraged to integrate these tools to demonstrate their effectiveness and continual improvement.
Okay. Alrighty, so we have lots of questions coming in. Waar kan ik die nieuwe ISO 9001 2026 vinden? So Hans, this one's for you.
Well, the ISO 9001 2026 can be bought by the local standardization body, and in the Netherlands that's NEN. Every country has its own standards body where the new version of the standards will be made available.
Okay, so local authorities and to stay connected.
Dutch local standardization body. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. All right, then Vukile asked, can you also share the examples of the context of the organization with these new changes, including climate change for our references, please?
This is a very good question. I think this really needs some deeper investigation and involvement. Because we have still only this draft international standard where we have mentioning that the context of organization need to include climate change, right? For organizations who are even not related to EMS, right? So I think it would be nice if we'll let's say, be in contact with Vukile and then elaborate this question together and discuss what it may mean.
Yeah, that's great. Vukile, can you kindly type your email address in the chat, or I'll find it in our long list of attendees. See, a South African. Brilliant question from a fellow South African. Well done. All right, next one. So we've got, will you share the recording? Da, 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 da. All right, Marco asks, ISO 9001-2026 mentions hybrid and remote working. What are the auditor's expectations in terms of control measures and documentation in this area?
Yeah, actually, that's also a very good question. It is very similar to the question related to AI because let's say these changes like hybrid and remote working consideration or AI and digitalization topics now are mentioned in the standards to reflect the modern approaches, right? And what standards expects, let's say, and the auditors respectively expects from the organizations to show objective evidences how these means are managed within the organization, right? How the organization effectively creates these processes, how organization monitors these processes, and how to improve. That's actually what is laid down in the standard principle, right? So what auditors will expect in a nutshell, to see objective evidences that the hybrid and remote working is considered in the system, it is managed in the system, let's say, and monitored. That's, as I said, in a nutshell. If that's will be interesting topic, we can also connect via email and elaborate, let's say, which objective evidences might be available here.
Thank you, Olga. So we have another very interesting question, and this is from Sven. So Sven refers to section 5.1.1, which requires top management to promote a culture of quality and ethical behavior. So the question is, how can this be audited since ethical is not objectively measurable? I really like this question.
Oh yeah, I also really like this question. This is really the challenge for the auditor to audit this question. But also, honestly speaking, in practice, that's like that. Yeah, that's right. That leadership clauses now explicitly required fostering a culture and environmental culture across the organization. That's no longer enough only to delegate responsibility. Yeah, so leaders must actively demonstrate commitment and also drive engagement. Yeah, and auditors will expect to see these reflected in a daily practice, not just in the policy statement, right? That's right, that culture, it's a bit tricky to observe, but usually auditors will look for consistent behaviors, both of leaders and staff, documented initiatives, for example, active communication in the company, engagement of both leaders and staff. For example, we might ask some questions like, are leaders routinely discussing quality or environmental priorities in the meetings? Are employees aware of policy, expectations. Let's say that's about demonstrating commitment, but not, let's say, policy and slogans. So that's something that you can feel, let's say, coming to the organization.
Great. So this question was really good, and I hope that Olga was able to answer your question, Sven. So I guess just to encapsulate what Olga says, it's a multifaceted approach. It's not going to be one-dimensional. Challenge is translating documents and words and all of that into real life, measurable, actionable behavior. So very interesting question. I like that one. We have another question from Jose. So Jose asks, are there quick wins? We always like a quick win that organizations can implement immediately to start aligning with the new requirements.
Yeah, shall I take this one?
Okay.
Yes, of course, organizations can start with simple high impact actions, such as updating their risk and opportunity registers, and review existing procedures for gaps, and as already mentioned, raise awareness among key staff, ensuring documented processes reflect current practices. Now, these steps don't require major resources, but begin with embedding the new requirements right away.
Fantastic. Hans, Bayranki. Okay, so Mr. Jose, I hope that answered your question. We have another one from Iris. Iris has asked, how much focus will there be on AI? Oh, but we will answer that. Okay. Then Monica, let's take Monica's. So Monica asked the question, will there be changes to the procedure in the water industry?
Actually, that's also very good question. That's hard to answer this right now because since we have only, let's say, this in place and there is no direct information there in the standard about that. Maybe there will be some changes in some mentions in the annex, which is more informative, let's say, or will there be any, let's say, links to the ISO guidances? We will see. We would love to elaborate this question more with Monica by email.
Fantastic. So Monica, Vukile, we haven't forgotten you. We will reach out to you. There's a lot of questions and we might not get to all of them right now. However, we will reach out to you. So that's a promise from our side. There's some really good questions here. So I have one from Roland, and Roland has asked the question. So a culture of quality is going to be important. How can this be measured? And this can be proved in an audit. So culture is in most cases the sum of all things you can see, but also may not be seen. It's about values. This can be a big topic of discussion with auditors. So just to reiterate, attendees, I am putting the question up here so that you all can see it. Some of the questions are quite lengthy and maybe one readout isn't sufficient, so it's meant to be here. I saw something in the chat. The questions are meant to be here. So Hans or Olga, who would like to grab this very interesting statement and question?
Maybe I can take this because we already have very similar question. Yeah. So I can just say that that's a really big topic of discussions with the auditors. Let's say how to measure the quality culture. Just to give you some impression how it will be, what auditors will be considering during the audit. As I already mentioned, this is behaviors, some proofs of the staff qualification and awareness. There will be some objective evidence of staff engagement, for example, some initiatives, proposals, questions. There might be some evidences of leadership engagement in the meaning of mentioning the topics related to quality culture during the meetings. I'm not telling about the policy, because that's really a basis for this quality culture, how this policy is elaborated, how this policy is let's say, shown up to the personal, etc. So this is the very good question, really, and we are just on the very beginning with elaborating how to audit that. If you are related to the food industry, you may know that in food industry, this, let's say, culture of food safety and quality is already a topic, let's say, more elaborated. And I think there are a lot of guidances and good practices provided by some specific certification schemes, and can be used also as a guidance, as a hint, let's say, how to measure, how to audit this quality culture, right? So if you don't mind, we also can connect with you by email and discuss that really interesting topic.
Okay, so we have so there's a lot of chatter going on in the chat area. So guys, there's two sections, chat and questions. And those that pose their questions in the question area are the ones being answered. So we might have missed something in the chat area. So Saskia, I hope that helps. Let me just see if there's something that really needs to be answered. So Jan van Eyck says there are several new focus areas, assuming audit time will not increase. Are there areas that will get less attention? So maybe Hans?
Yes, thank you. It's important. It's difficult at this stage to get an idea of what that means for audit time. In general, the audit time for ISO 9001 or 14000 will not change. Whether or not there will be time for, let's say, transition from the 2015 to the 2026 version is also still under debate. But there will be a lot of changes, and things have gotten less focus in a new version, while other things have got more focus now. So it's difficult to indicate whether or not there will be topics that will get less attention. Of course, the idea is that we will have to focus all those areas and confirm that you comply with them, and you have to demonstrate that you have implemented those requirements. So that will certainly not change.
Mm-hmm. So I think we've neared the end of our session for today, with time running out and just so many questions coming through. I would like to thank our audience for the impressive engagement, lots of comments and chatter, and such a diverse crowd. So people from all over the globe. And I think we've formed this little community now. So I think it's really great that you join us today. And as you know, we have upcoming sessions planned for Q1 2026, something towards the end of the year. So really stay connected, follow us on LinkedIn. I'm always posting our upcoming webinars, so stay connected. And yeah, you have access to our email addresses. You've got the lovely digital magazine with the hyperlinks, so many ways to stay connected. I hope that we were able to meet your requirements, your demands, answer your questions. Again, we'll reach out if we didn't. And to our experts, Hans and Olga, an absolute pleasure having you here, share your deep knowledge, your expertise with us. And I'm glad that we've really taken advantage of it and extracted a lot of information out from you. So looking forward to the next one. And once again, thank you to everyone. Recording will be available. Let's stay connected. So have a good day further, good evening, wherever you are. Adios, guys.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your attention. It was a pleasure
Bye-bye.
to be with you here.
Okay, bye.